SARA EV, the Sim Auto Racing Association. This is the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series. Tonight, this is the Can-Am Racing Series 150 at New Smyrna Speedway, where 30 of the top iRacing Super Late Model Series racers will take action to this half-mile high bank track. Right now, everyone's out here doing some practice laps. So while they're doing the warm-ups, we'll go ahead and talk about last week. If you weren't with us last week, Ty Spearman came away with the victory at Stafford Motor Speedway for the Midwest Power Source 150. He pretty much dominated the race, leading 132 laps, and is his 27th career SARA win. Now leading into this week, we have other series as well, and Monday nights we run the Midgets and UMP Modifieds. We alternate weeks on that, so this week it was the UMP Modifieds, and David Gregorian came away with the win at Knoxville Speedway. He led 13 laps, and it's his 33rd career SARA win. He'll be racing here tonight as well, and he will start on the grid tonight in 7th place, so keep an eye out for him. On Tuesday nights is our Callaway Investment Sportsman Series. We're racing at Lucas Oil Raceway, and Bill Martin came away with the win after leading 47 laps. Joe Schaefer Jr. came in second, and Kyle Souza was third. He led 20 laps in the race as well. There was 4 leaders and 8 cautions, 37 laps. There were 75 laps there last night, and Bill Martin is not racing with us here tonight. He does come off and on every now and then. So that's unfortunate. If you were there with us last week, he got caught up in a wreck in Stafford. So this week he wasn't able to repair the car and make it out here tonight. But he was able to get a street stock in there and able to get a win on Tuesday night. Now last night was the Davis Chassis Works Contender Series. And we had roughly 62 cars take to the track to put in a qualifying time. We split that up in 3 different sessions. So we had 3 different winners in the Contender Series. And Connor Blaze came away with the win. So did Gareth Gonder and Dallas Pataska. Now, Dallas Pataska and Connor Blaze are racing here tonight. Basically, if you get a win in the Contender Series on Wednesday night, that will allow you to race, get you into the race on Thursday night. So here we are here tonight, like I said, for the Can-Am Racing Series 150. And, we're going to watch a bunch of guys do some action here tonight. We'll go ahead and bring in, as you can tell, I'm a little bit under the weather here tonight. I'm having problems with my voice. I'm trying my best. So I brought in some backup. And with me here tonight is Gary Weaver. And Gary, thank you for coming in almost on short notice to help me broadcast. Maybe more often than not, I won't be having you speak than myself because I'm still struggling as I speak. But thanks for joining us here tonight, man. I really appreciate it, and I hope you really enjoy what we got going on.
Oh yeah, it's no problem. This is essentially one of my most favorite things in iRacing, watching short track racing. So it's going to be very exciting here to see what everyone here does tonight. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, this track presents many unique challenges, and passing is one of them, unfortunately. It can become a top groove track where everyone's just protecting. But we seen last night where some guys were able to pass down low and make some really good battles. But we have 150 laps here tonight. There's no extra tires, no fast resets. So, but with these guys being as fast as they are, first for 22nd split by a tenth and a half in qualifying. So it's extremely tight field, and this is an open setup league. So with everyone having open setups and being that close, it's going to be very competitive tonight. But before we move forward, I would like to bring in Joe Schaefer Jr. Joe Schaefer Jr. is our series points leader currently. He is also really good at this track. Joe, thanks for taking some time out here in practice to speak with us. Last week you ran second to Ty Spearman. This week you qualified second, and you're our series points leader. So what are you really looking for tonight as far as come away with a victory, running top 3, top 5, what have you? What do you look forward to?
Well, I love all the Florida tracks on iRacing. The last time we raced at New Smyrna, we were able to win. So I'm going to try to improve my finishing position from last week and the week before by 1 spot. I'm going to try to win this one tonight.
Well, you got Ryan Matthews at second in points right now, and currently he's on top of the board in practice. And he did not qualify into the top 10, so that's obviously giving you a little buffer there. And you qualified second, but with the 9-car invert, you'll be starting 8th tonight. So on this starts, or even maybe on the restarts, do you really want to be starting on the bottom or on the top here?
Well, we'll see what happens as the track heats up. I was out there turning some laps in practice, and the car felt a little tight. I think that's going to benefit me in the long run. But starting the race out, you're going to want to be on the high side for sure. I'm going to be, I guess you could say, cautiously aggressive, trying to go to the front as quickly as I can. This track has a tendency to tear up some cars, so the sooner I can get ahead of all of it, the better.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye out here for you. Like I said, you've won a championship here before, especially in the super late models. You've leading the points here once again. And before I get you back out there so you can make some more practice laps, is there any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd thank the posse. I got Ty Spearman over there working with me in TeamSpeak tonight. This setup we have is Ty Majeski certified, so hopefully it has good luck for me.
All right, well, good luck, brother, and we'll keep an eye on that for you.
All right, thank you.
That was Joe Safer Jr. Like I say, he's your series points leader. Currently, he's up 14 points over Ron Matthews, and Ron Matthews had some work to do after a not-so-great qualifying lap. We'll go ahead and pull in Matt Rolfe here. He's our league admin, and we'll get a word with him to see how he's doing here tonight, and also talk about Can-Am Racing Series. Matt, thanks for joining us up here in the booth. Gary just joined us not too long ago and introduced him as well. But tonight it's the Can-Am Racing Series 150. So can you tell us a little bit about the Can-Am Racing Series and what they're about?
Yeah, so the Can-Am Racing Series has been a partner of ours for probably 5 or 6 years now. Not really officially, but off and on. We've kind of run simultaneously for the last few years, and we've run some events together and stuff. But they're a league that runs fixed B-class cars on Tuesday nights, and they also run dirt nights on Sundays. So I think this season they're running dirt super late models. But yeah, we've partnered with them before in the past, and we run multiple events with them. And when I first joined iRacing in 2012, I ran in both leagues for quite a while. So glad to have them on board, sponsoring us here tonight. And thanks to them for partnering with us. And like I said, they run their own fixed series on Tuesday nights for B-class and dirt on Sundays. So if you're interested in any of those, check them out.
All right. Now, thanks to those guys for putting up the sponsorship for tonight's race, but let's take your admin hat off and put your racer hat on. Currently, you qualified 10th here tonight. You're going to be starting 10th to the 9-car invert, so there's no plus or minus gain there for you. You're currently 17th on the practice boards. What do you expect here tonight as far as your race overall? Where do you think that you can't finish with the car that you got?
Well, this isn't one of my best tracks, so I'm surprised with the 10th place qualifying run. Hopefully the race setup kind of transfers over to that as well. I think as long as we get some green flag runs, I should be able to, have a longer run setup here tonight. I should be able to work my way forward. If it's a couple short runs, it's going to be hit or miss. We'll see how it goes, but I'll be happy with the top 10 here tonight. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. It's not one of my best tracks, like I said, so we'll see.
All right, well, good luck to you. Before we get you on your way, I know the session's about to end here a little bit. Is there any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, just thanks to, we already mentioned Can-Am Racing Series for coming on board tonight. The Sim Marketing Solutions guys for coming on board to sponsor the Super Series. And hopefully your voice kind of holds up throughout the night, but thanks to Gary for coming over and helping us out here tonight as well.
Yeah, definitely thanks to Gary. Mine's going to go in and out, so here in just a minute I'm going to let Gary take the reins over, and I'll just kind of fill in here and there. But yeah, good luck to you, brother, and go on out there and give him some hell.
All right, thanks.
All right, that was our league admin, Matt Rolfe. He is always the guy who makes his way up to the front and typically qualifies up front as well. Before Matt goes ahead and advances the session, we'll go ahead and bring up the SARA partners and give a shout outs here for our sponsors. We got Sim Marketing Solutions, they're the sponsors, major sponsor here for this series here tonight. We got Davis Chassis Works, who's our Wednesday night Contender Series sponsor. Hides Pride Leather and Sheepskin, which I'll go over one of their deals here for tonight as well. They're a sponsor with us for the past few years. Midwest Power Source, Callaway Investments, who sponsors our Street Stock Series. Race1.us, Canadian Rail Serve, The Hub Use Sim Racing Giveaways, Loco Toco Designs, Dynamic Autosports, USO, Can-Am Racing Series, who's sponsoring the race here tonight. Thanks to those guys, and East West Modifieds. Go ahead and bring up the grid here and go ahead and go through the starting lineup here tonight for the Can-Am Racing Series 150 at New Smyrna Speedway. Starting on the pole due to a 9-car invert is Dante Curtis. Just on the outside of him is Cameron Hamilton. Starting third is last season's defending Super Late Model Series champion and Jimmy Mullis. On the outside of him is Tyler Breeding. Fifth is Zach Novak. Sixth is Jim Caudell Jr. Seventh is DK David Kokorian, who's already won once this week. We'll see if he can pull off a second. Eighth is Joe Schaefer Jr. We talked to him. We'll see how well he does and working his way up through the front. And ninth was your fastest qualifier here tonight in Tim Bills. And starting 10th is Matt Rolfe. 11th was last week's winner, Ty Spearman. 12th is Daryl Hamlin. 13th, Michael Goddard. 14th, Dallas Pataska, who won last night. 15th, Trevor Edwards. 16th, Justin Trombley. 17th, Ken Moran Jr. 18th, Donald Clark. 19th, Kyle Souza. 20th, who's second in points, is Ryan Matthews. Got a lot of work to do here tonight. 21st, AJ Rogers, who ran well last night, got up in a bad wreck. 22nd, Adam Benefield. 23rd, Connor Blaze, who won last night as well. 24th, Brandon Wilkinson. 25th, Keith Meneros. 26th, Ian Lane. 27th, Adam Jocelyn. 28th, Seth DeMerchant. 29th, Jared Boris. And rounding out your top 30 is Matthew Eddy. Now, Gary, these guys are going to be going at it here. There's 150 laps, no tires or anything like that, so pacing themselves will be key. What are you going to be looking forward to here tonight as we're going green?
I'm looking forward to seeing all these drivers at least be very conservative and a great start right by Dante Curtis.
Yeah, they're going down the backstretch here. Curtis gets off to a good start, and he will be leading lap 1 with Jimmy Mullis just behind him and Zach Novak coming in third.
The number 10 has fallen back just a little bit, but to the inside looks like Mullis is going to make a challenge for the lead early on. So much for that speculation they had of being conservative, but Mullis wants to get to the front as soon as possible, so that's going to force the 03 of Curtis almost into the outside wall. Goodness gracious, that was close out for.
Yeah, Curtis put down a pretty good qualifying lap, and he's a hell of a dirt racer at that. But if this is bad news for the field, as Jimmy Willis is out front early, and he's shown in seasons prior that once he gets out front, he stays there and dominates races. And you got Zach Novak just behind him. So these guys are trying to get out front, and as Joe Schaefer Jr. said, this track is hard to pass at, and guys trying to make some big moves to get some things done early, and we're seeing that happening right now.
Yeah, things getting done early indeed, as looks like the one of Jim Caudell Jr. has made his way up to 5th spot just recently, about a lap to go, and relatively single file once we get to around 12th place. And in that case, 38 and 81 are side by side.
Yeah, that's Michael Goddard and Ken Moran Jr. running side by side currently. And Ken Moran Jr. started on the pole last night in the Contender Series and quickly made his way to the back of the field. Lost the handling on the car. It appeared he was in my race that I was in. And we'll see if he is able to make some adjustments for here tonight, as Dallas Pataska is just on the inside of him now, working their way up here, battling for the 14th position.
Yeah, the 81 of Ken Moran Jr. He wants to get around Pataska as quick as possible. A little bit of a slow exit by that 57, but he's still hanging on the inside as they enter turns 3 and 4. Still relatively single file aside from a few side-by-side battles, and this is one of them right now. And I don't think Moran Jr. wants to give up that position so easily.
Well, this is what I was speaking of earlier in the pre-races. On the outside, you can kind of defend on down low. You can get good runs down these long straightaways. And as he gets around Dallas Pataska here, Pataska's going to try to follow in behind him and send him back up maybe for a later pass.
Yeah, later pass is definitely possible. And I was just about to say another 2 side-by-side battle, but it looks like as of now, everyone is single file. And I just now noticed apparently that the 40 of Jimmy Mullis and the 15 of Zach Novak, they have their own little breakaway right now from that 3rd place Dante Curtis.
Yeah, they are pulling away from the field. Currently, Mullis is about a 10th faster than everyone else. This is a long race, but Zach Novak's right on his tail. This is a long race, like I stated, so hopefully they're not burning their stuff up too much. But knowing Jimmy Mullis being last season's series champion, he knows what he's doing. He's a pro driver, so is Zach Novak. So these guys have been around the block a few times, and I'm sure they're just out there turning laps currently.
Yeah, most definitely is something that they want to do. I'm pretty sure Novak, as much as he wants to get to the front, he's probably going to be playing it conservative early on. And right now, we're only 13 laps in of 150, so I wouldn't be surprised. But Curtis has to look in his mirror just a little bit. He's got a Caldo Jr. on his back bumper, along with Cameron Hamlin, who started second. He's dropped back to fifth, but he managed to slot himself into a good position, 3 spots out from where he started, but he's still hanging on there in that top 5.
Yeah, and this race is having a different look than last night's race. Basically, the Semi Racing Association has the Contender Series, which is basically the feeder series for what you see here for the Super Sim Series. And last night's 3 races that we had for the Contender Series was a lot of caution laps. There's a few of them had a decent run of about 30 or 40 laps, but there's a lot of caution laps. Guys running over each other. Right now, this has got a green flag look, as these guys have been invited up to the Super Series. They're usually a little bit faster, a little bit more consistent, a little bit better racing, and we're seeing that here right now as Jim Caudell Jr. is going after Dante Curtis for 3rd.
Yeah, to the inside is that number 1, almost looks like that. He squeezed the L3 up into the wall coming out 2, but now here comes Hamilton on the inside. He looked to the inside, could decide not to stay there. So I don't think Hamilton in that 10, I don't think he wanted to really chance it early on and risk either taking himself out or Curtis out or a combination of both.
Yeah, that's definitely what you don't want to do. Conserving the right rear tire here, it depends on your setup, but I know depending on who's running mine from last night. Mine from last night really used the right rear as far as helping it rotate, so you had to be ginger on it as far as coming off the turn. But depending on how these guys have it set up, you definitely don't want to upset the right rear tire on these cars because it takes it a couple laps for it to calm back down. At least according to this build. We'll see how they do going to the next build. But right now it's single file racing from about all the way around the track until you get back here to about the number 5 car, Matt Rolfe. Got Michael Goddard just behind him, Ken Moran Jr. still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I saw Moran peeking to the inside there and almost making contact with the bumpers. There goes the 51, and Matthews had to check up just a little bit. Almost made contact with the 81 with Moran's back bumper over in turn 3. So really close racing, and something I realized is that Matt's running the high line coming out of turn number 2, and at the moment it looks like it's giving him just a little bit of an advantage, and there it is in turns 3 and 4 as well. That could play to his downfall, but at the moment he seems to be hanging on pretty well.
Yeah, he's making the outside work, and depending on the gearing on it, if he gave the gearing any legs at all, that outside's really going to work, and he's going to have some nice drive down the backstretch and into the turns. Right now he's trying to work over the fastest qualifier in Tim Bills, as these guys are battling for 11th place with Ty Spearman just in front of them.
Yeah, last time around, the 37 and the 5, they've both had, caution on the racetrack.
We got a caution on the track. It may have been...
That's the 18 of Clark and 17 of Rogers.
Yep, of A.J. Rogers. We'll go check out the SARA TV instant replay here. We're looking at A.J. Rogers. See if we can find out maybe what happened to him. And judging by what's in front of him, it looks like maybe Brandon Wilkinson and Donald Clark find a little bumper-to-bumper contact. Yeah, Wilkinson gets into the rear of Clark on entry. Clark just gets crossed up and hits the 60 of Medeiros and right into the 17 of A.J. Rogers. So that's 2 nights in a row A.J. Rogers has caught bad luck here. He will be more than happy to get the heck out of New Smyrna Speedway and on to next week.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Rogers was really disappointed in that. In the bright side, though, he managed to get back going, but it's going to take him a long time to really repair that car to get it back out to at least whatever state that it could be in. So pretty heavily damaged, but he is deciding to leave pit road right now, probably to avoid going a lap down at this point.
Yeah, he's going to work on that car and try to get the front end fixed as he got called by the pace car. He's going to try to get the front end fixed as much as he can. These cars can be aero sensitive, especially on the faster tracks, like New Smyrna Speedway, where they're clicking off 17-second lap times. but we'll see if he's able to, make his way back up through the field just a little bit as he's battling there towards the top 20 spot or so. And there's a lot that can still happen. There's still a lot of points to be gained. And obviously, everyone wants to be racing in the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Sim Series. Like I stated, it was invite only. So he's going to come out here and still make laps and still try to keep points so that way he can keep that invite.
Yeah, it shows how committed he is to the series, how much he wants to stay in the series as well. That is amazing commitment as well. It's always great to repair your car as much as possible and just find whatever points you can get at the end of the night, because you never know what could happen. Because if you retire early, well, you may be missing out on some extra points that you just may need.
Yeah, I mean, it's challenging to get into this series. So obviously, as you stated, you're going to want to try to keep it. And that's what AJ Rogers and anyone else that may get involved in an incident tonight or any other night, what they're going to do outside the car blowing up. They're going to come back out there and try to make some laps. As we're doubled up here, we're coming back to the green flag. The restart is on Jimmy Mullis. Once the pace car gets all 4 tires off the racing surface, the restart will be on him. He's got his teammate just on the outside of him with Zach Novak, so we'll see how they end up working that out. As we are green, Mullis and Novak get off to a great start. We'll see Novak fall in probably behind Mullis as they get down into 1 and 2.
Side by side for third, the 03 of Curtis, and I think Aldo Jr. got a little bit loose out of turn number 2 there in that number 1, and right now I've seen this many times where it's 2 by 2 and hello Curtis, or he just managed to make his way by on the outside, and I think that loosened up Aldo Jr. just a little bit, still battling on the outside. Manages to get up to third, and the battle between the 66 and 10 seems to have sorted itself out.
Yeah, as we're back to single file all the way through the 9th and 10th position. Looks like Matt Rolfe, Trevor Edwards, just Ty Spearman, and Joe Schaefer Jr. just in front of them running side by side. Matt Rolfe and Trevor Edwards go down into 3 and 4. Some tight racing. We're going to have to figure it out as they're coming up upon last week's winner, Ty Spearman.
Looks like they've sorted that battle out right now, but not until Tim Bills look down there to the inside, but right behind them is between the 51 of Matthews and 81 of Morin Jr. battling it out for that 13th place position. Across the line, it goes to that number 51 of Matthews, and that sorts itself out for the moment. And right when I say that, back to the inside goes to that 81.
Yeah, it looks like Tim Morin Jr.'s car's cutting the center pretty well. If you're Ryan Matthews, you got ground to make up as the point leader, and Joe Schaefer Jr., who's ahead of him in points, is up to 8th. But Matthews has made his way up to 13th, 14th here, so he's about +6 since the start of the race. So he is making up some ground and working his way towards the front.
And it looks like the 10 of Hamilton got forced up to the outside just a little bit. 25 of Tyler Breeding and 66 of David Kikorian, thank you. Yeah, those two were battling, and Tyler came up to the high side and almost cut off the 10 of Hamilton. So that's how the 6 of Schaefer Jr. just got loose out of turn 4. So that's how they were side by side, and now they managed to sort that battle out as well.
Yeah, and if you're Joe Schaefer Jr., he mentioned it in the pre-race that he has a Tom Majeski certified setup in there. So he's going to be wanting to not disappoint and run as well as he can, but at the same time protect his points lead. There's nothing more that Joe Schaefer Jr. likes than to win and win championships. Those are tied for first. So he's a smart racer. He's a fast racer. Right now we're on lap 36, coming to lap 37 at 150. He knows there's plenty of time to work his way around these guys, and that's exactly what he's doing here.
Yeah, I can see that for the most part, drivers are single file. Some try to look to the inside or the outside, but they just can't really get alongside the driver that they are trying to pass. It's something that you need for races like this. It's just a lot of patience, and if you know you're faster than the other guy in front of you, try and get around them, just like Hamilton is trying to get around the 25 Breeding right now, side by side down the back straightaway into turn 3, advantage Hamilton.
Yeah, Cameron Hamilton made the bottom there work, and it is possible to do. You have to have the car has to rotate really good in the center, and you have to have good drive off, and usually those things are hard to make them work together. But Hamilton made it work there, and he's got a sight set on David Krikorian for 5th place. As you're not missing anything up front, Jimmy Mullis, Zach Novak still 1-2. Jim Caudill Jr., Dante Curtis, and DK running out your top 5. Those guys are up there. The gap's maintained as Zach Novak and Jimmy Mullis is about a half second over 3rd place and Jim Caudill Jr.
I'm looking at their lap times, and this time around, and essentially they are almost equal, just roughly a tenth faster was Jimmy Mullis, and that's not even going down to the 0.0 to the tenth of a second range in this case, or should I say 100th, but looks like Krikorian is doing a great job staying ahead of Hamilton for the moment. Hamilton, no doubt, really wants that top 5 finish right now, and he's definitely looking for it.
Well, we're about a third of the way through this race as we're on lap 42 of 150. Hamilton's really making the bottom work. You see guys running up top, and that's more for defending, maybe if their car isn't handling well. I know in last night's race, racing in it, myself included, some other guys were really diamonding the corner, so they'll take it high on the entry and they'll just arc it down into the bottom as you see David Krikorian kind of take Cameron Hamilton's line. So we'll see if anybody changes up their line here, maybe try to pick up some speed. David just lets Cameron Hamilton by.
Yeah, it looks like Krikorian doesn't want to really chance that battle or anything else. He just wants to let Hamilton go, possibly use up his tires, and in this case the right rear tire, and just behind them, well, I was about to say 2 drivers were side by side, but in this case literally behind them is Joe Schaefer Jr. He's looking on the back bumper of that number 25. The question is, when does he decide to make the move, and what line does he choose?
Yeah, well, if it's Joe, it's the bottom line. Pretty much he's a bottom feeder for life. So if he's going to make his way around Tyler Breeding here, it's going to be down in the bottom, probably coming out of 4, if I had to guess. I mean, that's racing Joe in years past here. It seems like he gets through 3 and 4 like nobody's business, as he's going to look low here coming down the front stretch.
He looks low, but he can't quite get that momentum yet. In this case, that momentum was 1/1000th of a second going into Tyler Breeding's favor, but look at that, right into the corner, just diving into, almost quite literally, the back bumper was Schaefer Jr. This time around, lap times are advantaged to about 5/100ths of a second to Joe Schaefer Jr. Sorry, 1/100th of a second.
Yeah, you can see Matt Rolfe just right there popping in the picture, looking on the outside of Ty Spearman. If Rolfe can get around Spearman, and here goes Schaefer going down into 1, showing his nose to Tyler Breeding.
Sideways behind them, 37. Tim Bills manages to save it. That was amazing there. A little bit of a stack-up happened. Well, it's not yet over. But it looks like that was just a complete chain reaction there. I saw Trevor Edwards in the 32. He got loose off of 4. And Bills checked up, and then Matthews got into the back of Tim Bills. So that's why Bills has fallen back all the way now to 16th, unfortunately.
Yeah, Tim Bills, after having setting down a blistering qualifying run, unfortunately, due to the 9-car invert, started 9th, and he's working his way in the wrong direction. He's currently P16. Jimmy Mullis is still your leader here. He's led 49 laps here tonight of 52, call it 50 laps now of 52. And he's still holding a 0.2 of a second lead over Zach Novak. Like I said, those 2 guys are teammates. So, their setups are probably fairly similar. And they're just out there just making laps currently. There's still no battle. Jim Caudill Jr. really hasn't shrunk the lead too much. Those guys, Dante Curtis is a half second over Cameron Hamilton. So everyone's spread out. Like I said, we've been green this whole time. Outside of the 1 caution there of A.J. Rogers. And Joe Schaefer Jr. still working over Tyler Breeding's rear bumper. Breeding's not going to let him go, so Schaefer Jr. is going to try to find the line here as he's got a good run on him down the backstretch. He may show his nose again, getting in 3. Decides better of it.
Oh, Matt Rolfe just hit the wall coming out turn number 4 on the outside. I definitely saw that shot down by about 2 feet to the low side after that contact. So there goes his momentum that he had on Ty Spearman, he's probably going to get it back already in just a couple of corners in this case. But my goodness, that's a hard shot for Wolf on the outside, seeing a little bit of right front damage, more of a lot of right front damage, considering I can see the tire. So hopefully Matt can recover from that. But Joe Schaefer Jr. is still trying to find some way around that number 25.
Yeah, and this is what can happen here. You can kind of get stuck behind the guy. You can be faster than him, but you need his line to get by him. So you have to switch it up. When you switch it up, the car's just a tick slower. So that may be what's happening. He's going to keep working him over, maybe try to force him into a mistake and finally get by him. Looks like he's got a good run here out of 4. He's definitely going to show his nose. We're going to be side by side as they get down into 1. Breeding gives him plenty of room. Schaefer's down there, but here comes Breeding with the run out of 2. So Joe Schaefer Jr. is probably getting a little impatient and getting a little fired up here behind Breeding, if I know Schaefer. And we got a new leader up front, and Zach Novak, as he's gotten around Jimmy Mullis. Jim Caldwell Jr. has cut down the lead here a little bit as well, as he's taken a couple of tenths off of it here. So right now we got a 3-car show for the top 3 spots.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what these 3 drivers can do, and I think either Novak was tired of waiting or Mullis just let him by, but nonetheless, still, like you mentioned, new leader here, so I'm pretty sure that number 1 is going to be quite not as patient as Novak or Mullis. And let's back up the lead change, and apparently Mullis did just decide to let Novak through, so the question is, what line is Claudio going to take? He's probably going to take the bottom line is what I'm expecting, but right now all these 3 drivers essentially spread out to the same point right now.
Yeah, Zach Novak out of Clinton, Connecticut. It's been simspeedshop.com, Loco Toco Designs. As we have another caution here. It might have been Tim Bill's
81, actually.
Oh,
Morin
81.
Jr.
Yep, Ken Morin Jr. facing the wrong direction here. We'll go back on the SARA TV instant replay to check out Ken Morin Jr. He's battling with Trevor Edwards. He had Ryan Matthews just behind him. We go down the front stretch here, see what happens. Oh, little checkup. That's tight. Coming out of 2. Didn't happen there. Oh, and Matthews just gets into him and loops Ken Morin around. That's an unfortunate break for Ken Morin Jr. It's even more unfortunate break for a guy who's second in points and making his way up towards the top 10. And Ryan Matthews. Now, if you're new to the league, we have a gentleman's rule here. Basically, with the gentleman's rule, the drivers are encouraged to claim fault for any cautions they may cause. And if they do claim that fault, they will be given an EOL or an end-of-line penalty during the race. Now, however, if you do not claim a caution and the admins go back and rewatch the race like they always do, and they deem that the caution was your fault, without a shadow of a doubt, you will get an EOL in the results. So it's always best to go ahead and claim a caution, even if you may not think it's your fault. Go ahead and claim it. It's your best bet. And we'll see if Ryan Matthews ends up doing that, as it did look like he got into the left rear of Ken Morin Jr.
That's quite unfortunate, but a great job by both he and everybody else to avoid him in that corner, sideways though he was. That was amazing. Some people actually had a close call with a wall even on the outside when they were avoiding. I believe it was the, I believe one of them was the 46 of Jared
Boris.
Boris, yeah.
Yeah. It's weirdly spelled, but easily said.
Takes time, so.
Yeah, Jared's, he ran pretty good last night as well. I think he was trying out my setup, untouched tonight. I'm not too sure if he did make some changes to it or not. But he's up there in 20th, and he's probably wishing he had a little bit better night going than what he has, but still a lot of time here to make his way up into the top 15, maybe even to the top 10, as we're on lap 66 of 150. And we have had 2 lead changes. Jimmy Mullis is the leader, and then Zach Novak, who took over 9 laps ago.
Going to be quite interesting to see what Caldo Jr. can do on this restart. Either he's going to hopefully, for himself at least, anticipate Novak's restart and get to the inside of Mullis, or probably just going to wait it out and let them race each other. But we've seen what they've been doing for the first essentially 67 laps of this race now, and they've just been riding behind each other.
Yeah, we'll probably see what happened. You know, the same thing will happen here as we're coming back to green. Novak get off to a great start. He'll let Jimmy Mullis know when he's going, so Mullis can pull in behind him. Jim Caudill Jr. is going to try to get off to a good restart, which he did. So did Jimmy Mullis. As they go down into 1 and 2, Mullis is going to fill in right behind Novak. He probably had a chance to take a lead there on him, but decided against it. And Jim Caudill Jr. did fall into third.
Yeah, battle for what is now 5th place, as is 66 of Krikorian and 10 of Hamilton down low, trying to find some way to hold off that 66 on the high side. That's not going to happen, but still just barely sticking to the inside is going to be Hamilton, as side-by-side battles throughout this entire track, and to the outside as Hamilton gets loose out of 4. 5th place goes to the Krikorian.
Yeah, business is starting to pick up here a little bit. Everyone knows that time is now to make some moves on the restart. Maybe we can gain some position, especially since the top side has some speed in it already. As we're starting to single file now, back to 9th and 10th position. Todd Spearman didn't get off to a great restart on that start. He's back to 12th, battling with Dallas Pataska and Trevor Edwards currently. So not too sure what happened with him, but he's going backwards.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, though. He does have a good amount of laps to make that up, and in the back, almost getting shuffled around in that case, was Adam Jocelyn. Saw just out of the corner of my eye coming out of 4. He got really shuffled around. They were 3 wide for a moment. He made contact with the 81 of Morin Jr., and to the outside of him was Seth the Merchant. And that was a really, really close call there for at number 79.
Yeah, as they're single file up there in front of him, it seems like they're getting it figured out. There's Ryan Matthews is just behind Matthew Eddy there in the 88 car, trying to make his way back up through the field. So Matthews is going to have to do it once more here, as he did take the EOL. So he made his way past a few cars, and maybe he can find his way back up and battling for the top 15 or 10 before the night's over with.
Hopefully that is the case for Matthews, as now he's looking to the inside for 21st right now, essentially, aside from them, looking through single file for the most part. And still just a roughly even distance, as looks like the top 3 are trading lap times, but the last time around they were all within a 17.9 at the same time. So side by side for 5th place, or should I say 11th place, way off there. Ty Spearman on the high side trying to hold off Tim Bills on the inside, and they make contact coming out of turn number 2. A bit of a trading paint there, and I think Tim Bills really wants to get by.
Yeah, Bills is trying to get by Spearman. Spearman's struggling here. I'm not too sure what his issue is, or the car's a little tight on him. As they're still battling it out, Spearman's going to, yeah, the car looks tight just a little bit. They're still battling side by side, as we've seen that Tim Bills has got knocked around a little bit in this race. Maybe the car's coming to him here later in the run. As it gets tight, as they get out, especially out of 2, there's not as much room to move up. Give each other plenty of room this time, so there's no donuts on the cars as they go down into 3.
And looking to the inside was the 83 of
Adam Benefield.
Yeah, Benefield. He was looking to the inside of that 5 of Rolf, but couldn't really get to the inside as he got loose out of turn number 4. But still side by side. Well, never mind. So he actually gets to the inside now, coming off of 4. Just can't keep that momentum on the inside lane coming out of the corner. Into the corner, he's great, but just coming out of the corner, he seems to be a little bit slow. Almost makes contact with the 5.
Yeah, Adam Benefield battling Matt Rolfe here. Benefield out of Pell City, Alabama. That's Roll Speed Dynamics, KR Designs, Pontiac GTO. He's battling hard here with him, trying to figure it out. Like I said, the bottom line, unless you get the gear in it, it's hard to get up off the bottom and try to make that pass work.
Yeah, it's quite difficult unless you're Tim Bills. Then in that case, you just made the pass work. I was about to call it side by side again for Spearman, but looks like Tim Bills has finally made his way around Ty Spearman there. I believe I said Tim, so apologies for that if I did. 3-car breakaway for first, and essentially another 4-car pack, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah, you can throw a blanket over 8th through probably about 15th. As they are single file, but one slip up, and this would really stack up as you see Matt Rolfe trying to fight on the outside of Tyler Breeding just to show his nose, and Breeding gets loose. Matt Rolfe gives him a little bit of break. He could have easily turned him around there, and that's what I'm talking about with the little small mistake. You're going to stack these cars up. We're going to have a heck of a battle here for this 8th place.
And on the back bumper was Rolfe getting into a corner number 3, a way of Rolfe saying, why didn't you just let me run? He's still on the back bumper as they head down the front straightaway, so I think Rolfe is now saying, seriously, let me by. But here comes the 83 of Benefield. Thought they were going to make contact in the quarter panels there for a second as they head down into turn number 3, and right behind them, Bills makes his way to the inside of Pataska.
Yeah, great battle here for 8th as Ty Spearman's watching it all happen right out in front of his windshield. Trevor Edwards is just behind Ty Spearman. He's wanting in on this battle as well. This is your best battle on the track as these guys are just battling out. This is for 8th position. So if we can get this going on up towards the front, we're going to have a heck of a race here tonight. But right now, this is where the action is at as we're trying to get more cars on the tail end of this. So Breeding's holding up this field, but only just by a little bit. And that's the name of the game. Is you got to pass these guys, and you got to pass them where they're not. And Matt Rolfe is trying to make it work on the outside. Meanwhile, Adam Benefield is trying to pass Matt Rolfe. So it's a great game of cat and mouse going on.
And we got Benefield trying to get by Rolfe, and then we got Rolfe trying to get by Tyler Breeding. And again, every time they come off the corner from the camera angle that I'm looking at, it looks like they're going to make contact with each other. I'm pretty sure they're darn close. Breeding slides up into the inside, finally even up. Goes Benefield in that 83. And looks like Rolfe is going to get held up by Breeding maybe just a little bit as they come out turn number 2. And here comes Tim Bills to join in on this party.
Breeding cuts off the nose of Adam Benefield, and Benefield's going to show his nose coming out at 4. Tell you right now, Benefield's as clean as it gets, but pretty much none of these guys will accept getting their nose chopped off as we're on lap 90 of 150. Rolfe is still trying to make the outside work. We're going to go ahead and go on board with Matt Rolfe to see what all this looks like in person. Now, if you want a part of this, you can go to the SimAutoRacingAssociation.com and sign up. You can go into our contender series right away, and if you show that you got what it takes to be in the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Sim Series, you'll get the invite to come up to battle it out with these guys. As you can see, they're putting on a heck of a show. Oh, as they get a little bit loose, and looks like Rolfe got into it with Adam Benefield there coming out of 4 as you're on board with that one.
He just broke loose coming out of turn number 4, so not exactly sure what happened. Tim Bills barely avoided the back bumper, I think, so he's now looking to the inside of Matt Rolfe after that little portion of bad luck, and nearly coming off the outside wall was Rolfe. My goodness. And
yeah,
he's still somehow in the top 10.
Yeah, he's still hanging on there. He's got some damage on his left front. Left door. He's got some damage on his right front. Car's still tracking straight, so he's still trying to make some hay, make his way further up into the top 10.
Quicker the laps count down, the quicker I expect these drivers to make some moves. And speaking of moves, here goes 83 Benefield finally to the inside of Breeding, so I'm pretty sure that Benefield is getting a relief, and Breeding was really off of before, and so is Rolfe.
Yeah, oh, and there's contact
made.
Breeding's up into the wall. Car's
destroyed. No.
Oh, Trevor Edwards ends up looping it around as well. This is going to bring out multiple cars. Go ahead and take a look back at the replay here. See what happened with all this. As we can see, it looked like Breeding and Benefield got down into 1 and 2 there, and there was contact. Breeding hit the outside wall extremely hard, and it collected some other guys, and that was pretty much all she wrote after that.
Looking at Wilkinson, he had some great avoidance of Tyler Breeding there for that caution, so props to him for avoiding that somehow. That is definitely a way to avoid a wreck right there, so quite unfortunate. I'm pretty sure that the 92 of Spearman got a piece of that, at least on his right side, and he sure does, and it's definitely showing for him.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys that just missed that wreck. Like you said, Ty Spearman, Kent Morin Jr. just missed that. Michael Goddard just missed it. So there was very good wreck avoidance by pretty much everyone behind them. And that could have easily collected 5-6 cars. So it was an unfortunate break there for Breeding, as it looks like his car's broke and it's dog walking. And we'll see what ends up happening with that. Well, you know, if Adam Benefield ends up taking that or not. That was a really hard racing, close deal. That's up to Benefield if he's going to accept that EOL penalty or not, or if he's just going to chance it. But I mean, that was, you know, that was almost doomed to happen. You know, we were watching them guys battling it out for what felt like 20 laps, and you know, a lot of hard, close racing. When that happens, bumpers are bound to meet up.
Yeah, quite realistically, I do believe that was actually 20 laps because these laps tick by quickly. I forgot how, this is why I love short track racing for starters, also the racing itself. So this is very, very exciting, and I'm actually quite interested to see. I'm pretty sure Mullis is definitely going to want to race it out with Novak, but at the moment I think Novak has been in the lead ever since lap, I'd say about 40 or so, ever since the second caution came out.
Yeah, Novak's led 42 laps here so far, so he's pretty much taken over what Jimmy Mullis has done. I can't remember how many laps that Mullis has led so far, but you know, it's been those two guys basically at the top box. Dante Curtis did lead the field under green, and he fell back to third fairly quick after Mullis got around him. Novak followed suit, and then Novak took over 43 laps ago, and he's been your leader ever since as we're coming to 1 to go. We'll see what kind of restart that these guys get. There were some jacked up restarts last night. I'm pretty sure that the drivers were talked to about it going into tonight. We'll see what Novak does here on the restart. It is on him.
Pace car. Yep, go ahead.
We are green, green, green. Novak gets off to a great start. So does Mullis, and Caudell Jr. is going to follow in third. But DK David Krikorian is going to try to get by Dante Curtis, make quick work with him, and maybe work his way up to 4th place.
And just behind them, side by side, Hamilton stuck up on the high side with Schaefer Jr. Almost both of them making contact. I'm pretty sure they did. Train Payne just a little bit. There goes Hamilton up the high side.
And Schaefer Jr. just pretty much took his line away and gave him the doors. Benfield's going to fill that spot now. And Schaefer Jr. is up to 5th place. Maybe trying to work his way up to 4th and maybe get it up front, battle for the lead.
Schaefer Jr. looks now to the inside of that 03 of Curtis. He's going to get this way by, at least halfway, down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Joe Schaefer Jr. in his button box shop, Ford Fusion. Let's squeeze up on Curtis just a little bit. Thankfully, that wall's extended out a little bit. I don't think they would have made it, as Adam Benefield gives them both a little bit of bump, or there's some checkup there one way or the other. Joe Schaefer's going to square it away, and Benefield's going to be left with battling Curtis.
Well, now it's going to be Hamilton battling Curtis as Benefield makes his way by on the inside. Loose off was Kurt Hamilton on the low line, and essentially throughout all this, your top 3 is still the same, but this is quite exciting. I think Curtis just finally gets away on the high side, and every time, right when I say that, back to the inside goes Hamilton.
Yeah, Dante Curtis is struggling here on this restart, and he's been beat up just a little bit. As we got Jim Caudell Jr.'s all over Jimmy Mullis' rear bumper. He's trying to make a move on him here. As he's looking down low into 3 and 4 up to his left rear. We might have a battle for second.
Yeah, he had to back off coming out of turn number 4, unfortunately, but he had the momentum to at least make it to the inside, and essentially the last time around, they both have the essentially virtually equal lap time of 18.010 seconds, and Caudell Jr. finally finding that momentum to get back up to that back bumper of that number 40 car of Mullis, and last time around, this time it goes to the advantage of Caudell Jr. to about 5/100ths of a second.
Yeah, these guys are pretty much mirroring lap times on the racetrack as we're on lap 108 of 150. So we're starting to wind down here on the last third of the race, and now is pretty much what you know what you got, and it's go time. So you got to make every move that you can to work your way up as high as you can in the standings and go after that win if you're Jim Caudell Jr.
You have to do that as quick as possible, essentially. In this case, and Matt Rolfe had a wild ride coming out of turn number 4. He got loose and somehow managed to save it about, I'd say, 20, 30 degrees sideways off that corner. And essentially, everybody else right behind him is pretty much battling each other. So it's 2x2x2. And right when I say that, things can change just that quickly. And, of course, it goes right back to triple twos.
And you got Matt Rolfe down on the inside and Brandon Wilkinson on the outside. There's Ryan Matthews, who's made his way back up to 16th after that incident he had earlier in the race with Ken Warren Jr. And he was trying to make his way back up into the top 15. Him and Michael Goddard just got into it just a little bit there in 3 and 4. Hopefully, if this new build update that's coming out next week, they get these crash boxes fixed a little bit because the net code on these cars are kind of bad. But right now, they're making it work.
They're doing an amazing job. A round off turn number 4 is going to be...
Oh, it was a Ty Spearman.
Yep.
The old Wiley vet looks like he got crossed up somehow coming out of 4. Hopefully his sleeping pills didn't kick in. We'll go ahead and pull up Ty Spearman here on the SARA TV instant replay as he's got Tim Bills and Dante Curtis in front of him. And that's Dallas Pataska behind him. Looks like Bills just kind of worked over Dante Curtis there a little bit out of 2. We'll see. Spearman's up a little bit. And Curtis just gets him in the left rear and loops him around. Great little save there by Ty Spearman. Going his Wheelman hands there and got him pointing in the right direction pretty quickly, so he didn't lose as many positions as he probably could have, but he's also probably none too happy knowing that Curtis kind of looped him around. They're coming out of 4.
Yeah, he was in P10 at the time, so right now it's showing him 18th. Nope, yeah, 18th position right now, so essentially now 8 positions lost as Curtis has actually pulled it into pit road, so I believe he's also fixing whatever damage that he's got, and he's got a lot of that on the right side in the process as well.
Yeah, unfortunately Curtis got abused there on that last restart and all the way up to that caution. Some guys moving him out of the way, and it looks like his car wasn't handling too well either, so it's go time here. We're on lap 116 of 150, and green flag's out since some of these guys are going and using everybody up.
I'm seeing right now, looks like Schaefer Jr. is in 5th. I'm not too sure. Maybe he's still on the power. He's just trying to save something. No, he's actually had the pit road right now. Or just using the apron to find out. Nope. All right. Yeah, he is in 5th, so I had to wait just a little bit.
Yeah, Schaefer's... some guys will go down on the apron or even out of the racing line to cooler tires, or what is led to believe to help cooler tires since it's a non-racing surface. I don't know how much that works, to be quite honest, but people do it anyways. And so he's probably just down there just doing that to maybe see if he can help his tires out a little bit for this last little run towards the front, as he is 5th. And, padding his points lead here a little bit over Ryan Matthews, who is currently 13th. Now, like I said, Jimmy Mullis was last season's series champion, and he's currently running 2nd. And in the points, Jimmy Mullis is currently tied for 7th, 37 points out. Still early on the season. This is week 3 of week 12. And, a lot can still happen, as Zach Novak is currently 3rd in points, 17 behind Joe Schaefer. So, a win here tonight can definitely help out Zach Novak's cause towards the championship outside of just winning the races. We're at coming to the green here. Pace car is off, and we are green, green, green. Jim Caudill Jr. gets off to a much better restart. He's probably going to try to fill in behind Zach Novak here. Jimmy Mullis is going to have a run out of 2 on Zach. Didn't look low on him. He's still hanging in there behind him in P2. But David Krikorian, don't look now. He's on the outside battling Jim Caudill Jr. He's want to take over the 3rd spot. Squeezes in just behind Caudill Jr. in front of Joe Schaefer.
Yeah, Krikorian was practically right on the back of at number 1 of Caudill Jr. for just a few moments there, and my goodness, everyone's still essentially quickly single file. I I saw Schaefer Jr. go sideways just a little bit, but side by side, they make contact heading to turn number 1. That's Kent Moore Jr. and the 10 of Hamilton as well. Seen Hamilton up in the top 10 a lot lately, but he just got a little bit forced out down to the inside, so now it's going to fall back to P number 9 as of right now, and just right behind them, Pataska looking for that top 10 on the outside.
Yeah, as we were single file from 110, Olsen still keeping pressure on Zach Novak. It'll be interesting to see how he treats his teammate here as he's getting a ton of pressure behind him from Jim Caudill Jr. as the front 3 are pulling away from David Krikorian as they go down into 1 and 2.
Caudill Jr. was the fastest of these 3 drivers, these other 2 drivers here in the top 3, but he just has to wait a little bit longer, or maybe do it now, move up at least 1 position, maybe up to first in the process. But Krikorian now is starting to catch up just a little bit, and essentially at the moment, well, never mind, Krikorian loses momentum coming out of turn number 2, possibly took the wrong line, so here comes Schaefer Jr. looking for 4th.
And
oh, in the back bumper.
Mullis has a great save coming out of 2. Caudill Jr. starting to get a little impatient there behind him as it is go time, and we have a caution. If you're Jimmy Mullis, that's what you want to see, because Caudill Jr. was giving him a super hard way to go. Great save by Jimmy Mullis.
Looks like coming out of turn number 4, wild ride for at number 46 of Jared.
It's Jared Boris there, and a T4X chassis Toyota Camry. We'll go back on the SARA TV instant replay, see what happened here with Jared. Is Ian Lane's right there in front of him in the pizza machine. Got Kyle Souza in the 7 car just below him. As him and Kyle Souza make a little bit of contact, and there's some of that net code as AJ Rogers once again gets caught up in a wreck of not of us doing. But there's some of that net code. I mean, there's just a little bit of, door-to-door action, and it just completely loops Jared around. And it was a tough break there for AJ Rogers, and I think Matt Eddy's got caught up in that as well. Tough night here overall for Jared Boris. Not the night that he wanted. He's hoping for a better qualifying run than what he had as well. So he's probably happy to see this race be winding down as we're almost coming to 20 to go.
And this is where everybody starts to be either more patient or more aggressive. It just depends on what you do in these final, at the moment, not exactly 20 laps, 23 laps. So essentially, I believe next time or 2 times more rounds should be going green with possibly 21 laps to go.
Yeah, we've had 2 lead changes here tonight and 5 cautions. Jimmy Mullis has set your fastest lap into 17:26. We're coming down to the end here. Patience is getting thrown out the window. I can guarantee you that. Guys want to win. Here in this race, there's a lot of bragging rights that go on, as there's tons. The average I rating in these Thursday night races is super high for the average. And then you have some guys who run extremely well, like Matt Rolfe, whose I rating is low, is because they don't race official races. These are probably way tougher than what's actually an official these days. But patience will be thrown out the window. And will be interesting to see if Jimmy Mullis gets another run on Zach Novak like he did last restart, and if he decides to use it going down the backstretch.
Yeah, it's something where you can still be teammates during part of the race, just not the entire race. And in this case, it's definitely going to be coming out at the end of the race. And assuming the pace car lights come off this time around, looks like it will be an even 20 laps to go, and it is.
Yep. As we come to 1 to go. Restarts on Zach Novak. Jimmy Mullis starting second. We've seen that amazing save that he had. The caution came out perfect, let him cool down his tires there a little bit after sliding them around. See if Jim Caudill Jr. can get off to another great restart and maybe give some help to Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak for the win. As the pace car will be pulling off here, and after he does, it's on Zach Novak. Mustang pace car pulls off. We are green, green, green. Mullis gets off to a great restart here, as one to be expected by teammates. We'll see if he squares up this exit. As he does, gets a great run out of 2. Decides not to use it again. David Krikorian gets off to a great restart as well, as he's going to try to fill in for 3rd place. Caudill Jr. is not going to have any of that, though, as they come out of turn 3 and 4 side by side down the front stretch.
Of the 83 of Benfield getting to the outside wall. Caution out once again.
Comes another caution. These cautions will be cautions late. Not 100% sure who that was. Yeah, don't have any eyes on that one. I'm not too sure who it was. They got looped around.
And I'm not seeing anyone, actually. Oh, wait. Dante Curtis, out of turn 2.
Oh, Dante Curtis, once again, coming out of turn 2. Go back on the SARA TV instant replay as it cuts the tail end of it there. It looks like him and AJ Rogers had a little disagreement on real estate. Rogers had a rough go over here tonight. So has Dante Curtis. Both these guys have been caught up in, some incidents, none of their own, and then, some of them have been some problems of their own. But definitely I can speak for AJ Rogers here on this. Hopefully he doesn't mind. He's had some really bad luck on his side after some good runs. He had a good run last night. He had a decent one going here tonight. He just keep, for both nights, last night to this night, he keeps getting caught up in other people's crap. And unfortunately, this is the way it goes in the racing world. I'm sure he'll come back stronger next week, and we'll definitely see if he's able to make better ends of it at Phoenix come next week. But him and Dante Curtis didn't have an agreement on real estate there, and it's brought out our 6th caution of the night as his 135 of 150. And Zach Novak has to do it here again on this restart if he wants to come away with the victory.
And in fact, actually, just before that, the 88 Matthew Eddy slid up just a little bit, made contact in the left rear, and AJ unfortunately got caught up in that once again. So still just more constant bad luck for AJ Rogers.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's getting a year's worth or a season's worth out here in one night. AJ usually runs good. He runs clean. I've always liked running with AJ. So he's just, like I said, just bad luck here tonight. It's happened to the best of us. And he'll pack up the car here and make his way to Phoenix and turn around his fortune. We should be coming to 1 to go here once the pace car comes back around. And like stated, Zach Novak and Jimmy Mullis are going to have to figure it out. Like we've mentioned numerous times before, they are teammates. And I know when I've raced with teammates, I've always still want to try to beat them. But obviously race them clean. But when you're getting all kinds of pressure from behind you and you think you have a move on your teammate, we'll see if he's able to do anything with it, or if he decides to do anything with it, or if he's just riding for second and let Zach Novak just kind of lead the way for the team. As we do have 1 to go, Gary, go ahead and buckle in tight, bud, because this is going to get interesting.
Yeah, his last 13 laps are going to be action-packed here.
Race car is off, and we are green, green, green. DK and Jim Caudell Jr. get off to a pretty good restart considering. Jim Caudell's going to shove it down in there. Look, there you go. There's Jimmy Mullis on the outside. Nope, let's Zach Novak get up there. But in the meantime, David Kikorian's going to follow into 3rd. There's Adam Benefield and Joe Schaefer Jr. behind them side by side. Caudell Jr. gets loose out of 3. Going to have to check up a little bit to gather it all up.
And then just to keep it side by side for the most part with Kikorian, who's on the outside, and just behind them it's between the 6 of Schaefer Jr. and the 83 of Benefield on the high side. 2 by 2, and these front 2 are breaking away. Yeah,
if you're Zach Novak and Jimmy Mullis, is exactly what you want to see is double file in your rear view mirror, so that way you don't have to pull away and have a little team 1-2 finish and not have to worry about battling too hard and holding off anyone else. Now, if you're in 3rd place, you're David Kikorian yelling at Jim Caudell Jr. to let you go, and vice versa. If you're Jim Caudell Jr., you're just asking DK to give you just a small little break so maybe you can run these front 2 guys down.
That's something where you should hopefully work out with your, in this case, opponents, but at the same time also race mates, at least for the time being, before you decide to essentially completely dump them and try to race them as hard as possible. Speaking of racing as hard as possible, 83, I believe, of Benefield got shoved into the outside wall coming out of turn number 2. He made some contact with the 37 of Tim Bills.
Yeah, Benefield's car's all bent to
Oh,
hell.
there goes
Oh, there's
Bill's.
Ken Warren Jr. and Bill saves it.
Saved it.
That was a heck of a save as they're stacked up here a little bit. That's twice that
Double.
Bill's has saved it tremendously. And
Oh, there
Cameron's they're spinning in the back.
Saved
And
it.
they saved it. This is amazing. There's no caution there. Now there's
Nope,
one.
there it
There
is.
goes Trombley spinning down there.
Oh.
As he destroyed the right side of his car. And that was the 47 car of
45 actually of Trombley.
yeah, it was 45 of Trombley and 47 of Hunter Blaze got him looped in the wrong direction. But I mean, that started way back in 3 and 4. We'll go back and watch the replay here. But this started all way further up front as we were watching it there with Tim Bills, and then behind him was Ryan Matthews, and them just getting all stacked up. Guys were going every which way, trying to figure it out. As you see Cameron getting loose, Trombley's going to try to be the benefit of all of this, and Blaze may not have known he was there, and then just stacked them all up and wrecked them. There's Daryl Hamlin and 79 car of Adam Joslin that got caught up in that.
I'm looking back at the time the caution had come out, or at least when the lights came on, and I believe that came out with, it looks to be 6 laps to go, and it did not actually, 5 laps to go, so either the race is going to end in a 1-lap shootout or under caution.
I think
And
it's
now
going
it's 5 to go actually.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I know for whatever reason, it seems like they have an extra caution lap here under caution than normal, but I think we're going to have a 1-lap shootout, and if we do, just all bets are off for everything. There may be guys that get wrecked. That the teammates are going to have to figure it out here once again. They're running out of tricks in their books for restarts, I'm sure. If you're Jim Caudell Jr., you're going to go for broke going down into 1 if we get a 1-lap shootout. So we'll have to see how this plays out as the intensity has picked up here over the last 50 laps. We've seen some great battles, seen some great saves, seen some great wrecks. So, who's to say what's going to happen here towards the end? All I know is it's going to be interesting, and I can't wait.
At this rate, it looks like this could be the last pace lap. We could get the one to go next time around, considering that everyone's in a staggered double file lane, or a double file. I assume that's what we're getting, so this is going to be a wild last lap. Anticipation.
Let's see what happens here with the pace car lights. I'm betting, man, they're going to go off.
Yep.
Boom, there they go. We got 2 laps to go here. When they come take the green, there's going to be 1 lap to go. It's going to be a green, white, and then a checkered's coming out behind that. As you see these guys darting a little bit, they're just making sure they're not going to spin their tires on the restart, which can happen depending on your gearing selection. And it's on Zach Novak here to nail this restart one last time. Jim Caudell Jr. backing off just a little bit. He's going to try to get a little run start at it. Why not? It's usually frowned upon, but if you're going to do it, we're green. David Krikorian gets off to a great restart here. You see Jimmy Mullis on the outside. I doubt very seriously he gives him a break this time as they're going to side by side down the back stretches. We're going down to 3 and 4. They're side by side. David Krikorian's going to sneak in there. Zach Novak's going to come out of turn 4, and he's going to be your winner here tonight. David Krikorian gets second over Jimmy Mullis, and they're wrecking behind him.
Huge crash.
Huge crash going down the front stretch.
Someone.
Yeah, it looks like
Someone's
Brian
upside down.
Matthews
It's the 03.
And the 03 once again is looped around. There's a big wreck. But you couldn't ask for more there for the finish as Zach Novak comes away with the victory here tonight in the Can-Am Racing Series 150. David Krikorian edges out Jimmy Mullis there for 3rd. Ken Warren Jr., after his incident there early in the race, comes away 4th, and Jim Caudell Jr. will round out your top 5. The Zach Novak burning it down there on the front stretch. They're out of Clinton, Connecticut, and the SimSpeedShop.com, Loco Toco Designs, Toyota Camry. There for Lockdown Racing. So, Gary, that was a very interesting last restart there. Novak got off to a great restart, but so did David Kikorian as he snuck away and took second place there from Jimmy Mullis. There in the back, not too sure what happened, but they all got crossed up as everyone's trying to get as many positions as they can on that one lap shootout. But it was wild racing here all night.
I'm looking back right now, and it seems to be two separate incidents actually started the what was the chain reaction of that last strike. It looks like Dallas Pataska made some contact with the 37 of Tim Bills, and then looks like the 56 of Wilkinson made contact with Pataska. That was the first of the two incidents, and then the second one was Connor Blaze making contact with Ty Spearman, and then the rest was just a huge chain reaction.
Well, I mean, we kind of expected that. Like stated, with the one lap shootout, all bets are off. Everyone's just going to send it and, see how it plays out there for them. It's not going to bring out a caution, but, with that being said, the admins are going to look for over aggressive driving because, hard racing is one thing, but just going in and flat taking someone out is, a completely different thing. But that battle there towards the end was great. We had battles great throughout the whole field, and we've seen some comers and goers, and that was just how it was all night tonight. We'll go ahead and bring up the results. Go ahead and show you our top 10 here before we get some driver interviews. Coming away with the victory, like I said, here tonight was Zach Novak. David Kikorian barely squeaking by Jimmy Mullis there for second. Samolis was third. Ken Morin Jr. with a heck of a drive and a comeback there for fourth. Definitely a way better night tonight than what he had last night, so it's good to see him turn that around. Jim Caudell Jr., after running third for so long, ended up finishing fifth. Joe Schaefer Jr. finishing sixth in the sixth car. Seventh was Adam Benefield. Eighth was Trevor Edwards. Ninth was Cameron Hamilton. Round out your top 10 was Brandon Wilkinson. We'll go ahead and bring in Jimmy Mullis here, who ended up finishing third. Led a bunch of laps here tonight, ran second to his teammate for the majority of the time until there at the very end on that last restart. Jimmy, we've seen you get around Dante Curtis early and led almost like 50 laps or so, and then your teammate got around you there. Were you two just kind of being real cooperative with each other throughout that whole race just to make sure that y'all stayed at least 1-2?
Yeah, I knew he was fast based off of testing, and he was fast here last time we ran here, and he's been quick and just hasn't had the luck to get him a win, and I really wanted to see him get a win tonight, so when he got to me, I let him go and just kind of rode with him, and then there at the end, I was just doing all I could to make sure he stayed out front.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the way it looked. And then there on that last restart, when we had that one to go, it was basically just the green checkered. Looks like you stuck on the outside of him. Maybe just tried to see if you can make any hay on the outside. But David Kikorian then ended up making his way around you there for a second. But overall, a great night for you, and your teammate there. Pretty much dominating from this race. Next week we'll be going to Phoenix, and it's the Ode Phoenix. So, do you think with the new build, no one knows really what to do or what kind of setup that they're going to have to end up throwing together? But based off of prior performances there, do you have any experience with the Ode Phoenix and the super late models, and what do you expect?
No experience. I've done a couple races on that track, but it's kind of going to be a new thing. When the new build comes out, we're going to probably test a lot. But this is definitely a good way to finish this build off. I think we've had cars these past 3 races that are capable of winning the race if we could just have track position and have things go the way we needed them to. And finally tonight we got the invert the way we needed it, and things just went smooth, and we came out on top, which is really nice. But yeah, the new build hopefully won't be too challenging, and hopefully it's not a complete flip around of what this build was, but even if it is, we're going to work hard and try to find the speed.
All right, bud. Well, it was a joy watching you here race tonight. Is there any shout outs or thanks or anything that you'd like to give before we get you on your way so you can head to Phoenix?
As always, got to thank JDR Graphics for the paint scheme, RacingVirginia.com, everyone else that's on this car, as well as Lockdown Racing, all my teammates especially Zach this week. We worked really hard on this car. This thing was a mixture of the USA, Stafford, and last season's South Boston set. So a lot of time went into it, and it definitely paid off. So congrats to him, and thank you guys for the broadcast.
Yeah, as always, bud. Thank you, and good run here tonight, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you, buddy. Hope you feel better.
All right, thanks. That was Jimmy Mullis. Like I said, he's last season's defending champion for the Super Late Model Series. Came away third here tonight, led a bunch of laps. But now we got DK, David Kokorian, who just nipped Jimmy Mullis going across the line there for second. DK, it seems like you were battling your whole way, just picking them off little by little. But you were making really good restarts, especially on the high side. Did you think if you had it just a heads up there with Novak or Mullis, you think you could have got around them or maybe even snuck away with a win?
Yeah, with the rash of cautions we had at the end of the race, the top kind of went away. So I don't think we really would have been able to hold that much on the top. It's just thankfully I was able to get through the gearbox really well on the restarts tonight, and that one last restart really helped me clear Jim. But the last 50 laps with all the yellows, the top just kind of went away. We would need another 30 lap run or something for it to come back.
Well, I mean, you qualified third here tonight, so you and your teammate Tim Bills put up a heck of qualifying laps with first and third, and you were third respectively. You got the invert back to seventh, and you just pretty much hovered around there, and the top five there all night. So a good run all around. You got a win on Monday in the UMP car. So next week we're going to the Ode Phoenix, and I asked Jimmy Mullis this, and I'll ask you the same way just to kind of get your feeling on it. So we're going into Ode Phoenix next week, brand new build. What do you expect going into there, and you think you can maybe sneak one or sneak away with a win there as well?
Well, old Phoenix is best Phoenix, and if it wasn't for the alleged changes that are coming to the Super Late, I'd say we might have a good shot because we were notoriously bad in race trim these first couple weeks. Now we seem to have turned it around, but when the new build comes out, if those rumored changes are coming, most of us are probably going to start 6 months behind of the big guys that have alpha access.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. You always seem to figure it out. You're always fast. So we'll see what happens with you there next week. Is there any thanks that you'd like to give before we get you on your way?
Shout out to Wheelan, Dealan, and Tim and Russ and Donald. They all of us ran a lot of laps this week trying to figure out how to get our race trim speed back that we've been lacking for the first couple weeks. And if it wasn't for the build change next week, I'd say we may have finally turned it around, but we're gonna have to wait and see how the new build reacts to us.
All right, bud. Well, good race here once again tonight, and we'll see you next week in Phoenix.
All right, thank you.
Yep, that's David Kokorian. Come away second here tonight. We'll go ahead and bring in tonight's winner, who came away with a win there, an exciting finish. Zach Novak. Zach, thanks for joining us here. Great win here tonight at New Smyrna, where you and your teammate there, Jimmy Mullis, pretty much dominated the race together. With that one lap shootout there at the end, I have to ask, was there any nerves, going into turn one, expecting maybe a bumper or so, or did you think you knew you had it well in hand based off of the restarts prior to that?
Well, we had been nailing the restarts prior to that. I was just nervous, I guess, just because I was afraid I would make a mistake. I guess that was the biggest thing. Because the restarts here are really hard to time with the pace car. It drops really late, so you have to wait until it goes onto the apron with all four tires. So you have maybe a 2-second window in between when it drops and when the green flag drops to really go. So I was just kind of nervous that I would mistime it a little bit and give the guys in the second row behind us a shot at us, and didn't mess it up too much. I didn't get the best restart I wanted, but Jimmy gave me a break there and just gave me some room to sail it into turn 3. It sucks he ended up third, but we really had a good car tonight, and really happy we showed how fast we can be if we just got some luck on our side.
You had some luck here tonight. You made that last restart count when it needed to count the most. You led 94 laps here tonight, so definitely a dominating performance. I'll ask you the same thing that I asked the prior two guys. Your answer will probably be similar to Jimmy's, but we're going to be at Old Phoenix next week. There's a brand new build next week. No one really knows what to expect unless outside of the testers as far as what the new build is. So what's your expectations going into next week's Phoenix race?
I don't really know. I've heard a few things here or there on what's coming with the build, but obviously we don't know until it actually comes out. I've ran Phoenix a few times on the old configuration, but I'm not really that good at it or anything, so it's going to take some adjusting. It's going to be hard as well to balance the time with that, and also Cup car testing for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series, since I run in both of those, and it's just going to be hard balancing time. So hopefully we can just figure out what we need for this SARA here, and try to keep winning races.
Well, I'm sure you won't have too much of an issue with that for the race1.us qualifying night next Thursday night. Like I said, congratulations again here for winning tonight's race in dominating fashion. Is there any shout outs you'd like to give before we let you go back into Victory Lane and celebrate a little bit?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all my teammates at Lockdown Racing, especially Jimmy. I think, like he said during his interview, we really, really worked hard this week on getting this car dialed in. And, like 2 or 3 days before the race, we weren't too sure on what we were going to do. And then we did some testing last night, and we knew that the car was really good after that session. So, I was just really happy with it all race. I'm really thankful for him for helping out with the base, and Bad Bon Tempe as well for helping out with the base. They do an awesome job on the cars. I've tried to work on the setups a little bit more this season, but I don't know how skilled I am with that, but I think I've made a little bit of a difference, so that's cool. Thanks to my sponsors, Sim Speed Shop, Logo Toker Designs, of course everybody at SARA, Matt, for putting this league on. It's really fun to race in. Thanks to you guys as well for the broadcasts.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's our pleasure, to broadcast them and to watch them and everything like that. You put on a hell of a show here tonight, and go ahead and go back to Victory Lane. Enjoy it up, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, Derek.
As your tonight's winner for the Can-Am Racing Series 150 here at New Smyrna Speedway, and Zach Novak. Now, Gary, we've seen an exciting race here tonight. I appreciate you coming in and, assisting with it. My voice definitely appreciates it as it's starting to dwindle down more and more here later on into the cast here as we're about to wrap things up. Like I said, I really appreciate it. What was your takeaway here for tonight's race?
This was absolutely exciting to watch. I think we only had a maximum of about 3 or 4 cautions, probably. I think about 3, actually. So that shows how well these drivers can race and essentially using that outside lane to their advantage. And next week is going to be even more interesting, like you mentioned, with the build and also Old Phoenix.
Yeah, well, we'll see who ends up hitting on a setup there. As someone, as DK mentioned, some of the bigger teams, can kind of get off to a hotter start because they do a lot more testing. But this is when some of the smaller teams can come in too and hit on something really quick. And be fast for next week's race1.us qualifying night at Phoenix. We'll go ahead and bring up the results for tonight here once again. We'll run through those. Like I stated, we spoke with Zach Novak, David Kokori, and Jimmy Mullis. That was your 1, 2, 3 finishers on the boxes. Ken Morin Jr. finished in 4th. Jim Caudell Jr. finished in 5th. Joe Schaefer Jr. 6th. Adam Benefield 7th. 8th was Trevor Edwards. 9th, Cameron Hamilton. 10th, Brandon Wilkinson. 11th was Tim Bills. He pretty much had an up and down roller coaster night. Same thing can be said for Ryan Matthews as he finishes 12th. 13th was Dallas Pataska. 14th, Matt Rolfe. 15th, Ian Lane. Good top 15 finish there for him. 16th, Seth DeMerchant. 17th, Connor Blaze. 18th, Dante Curtis, who's going to need pretty much new fenders and bumpers and everything else. He got beat up a little bit here tonight. 19th, Jared Boers. Round out your top 20 is Michael Goddard. 21st was Matthew Eddy. 22nd, Daryl Hamlin. 23rd was the Wiley vet and Todd Spearman. 24th, Adam Joslin. 25th, Kyle Souza. 26th, A.J. Rogers, who left as soon as he could to go on down to Phoenix. He was tired of this place. 27th, Justin Trombley. 28th, Tyler Breeding. 29th, Keith Medeiros. And rounding out your top 30, last but certainly not least, Donald Clark. We'll bring up the series sponsors, give them one last shout out here. You got the Sim Marketing Solutions, who sponsors what we're watching here tonight for the Invite Series and the Super Late Model Series. Davis Chassis Works, who sponsors our Wednesday Night Contender Series. Hides, Prides, Leather, and Sheepskin. Midwest Power Source, Inc. Callaway Investments, who sponsors our Tuesday Night Street Stock League. Race1.us, who's sponsoring next week's qualifying night and the week after that for the Copper World Summer Classic. Canadian Rail Serve, and the Hub used sim racing giveaways. Loco Toco Designs, Dynamic Auto Sports, USO, Can-Am Racing Series, who sponsored the race here tonight, and East West Modifieds. So that'll pretty much wrap it up here for tonight for SARA TV at New Smyrna Speedway for the Can-Am Racing Series 150. Gary, brother, thanks again for coming in and joining us. Hopefully have you back up here in the booth some other time. Hopefully when my voice is a little bit better and you don't have to hear from me like this. And, like I said, just appreciate everything that you did there. I really enjoyed the broadcast, and hopefully you did as well. And we watched Zach Novak here tonight just dominate the race. And, thanks to Clay Snyder as well for producing this, and Matt Rolfe for hosting the Sim Model Racing Association, and, really him and Clay getting SARA TV up and going. That'll do it here for us tonight. Be sure to come in next week and check on us for the Race1.us qualifying night at Phoenix. We'll see who ends up figuring out the new build as that comes out on Wednesday. And there'll be Thursday night action for time trials and last chance qualifier to get into the Race1.us Copper World Summer Classic at Phoenix on June 14th. So that'll do us for tonight. I'm your host, Derek Robinson, co-host Gary Weaver, producer Clay Snyder. This is SARA TV. You all have a good night.